This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined here in Las Vegas by Frank Warren. We're here at the Fury-Wallin press conference. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. What about you, Rob?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Haven't seen you in a little while. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We was over in Russia and now we're here.
Let's start now. I was going to come on to that later on. Anthony Yarde unsuccessful in his WBO light heavyweight title challenge. Thoughts?
He was very unlucky. He could have won the fight. I think the fight was there to him to win, and I think his lack of experience, it just didn't happen, which is a great shame. But he has got it within him. He showed that he is a fighter at that level, and with a bit more schooling, I'm quite sure he can win a world title. That was his to win. And as I say, we're meeting up, I think, in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll have a chat as to what we're planning regarding the future. But he's at that level, no doubt about it now.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing in boxing, as you well know. In hindsight, do you think potentially he should have had another fight in between the Kovalev fight?
Listen, we got slaughtered every time we talk about him. People say, why is he not fighting this guy? Why is he fighting that guy and so forth? And I kept saying he needed experience, He would come very close to becoming world champion. Very gallant, brave performance. Didn't do himself any injustice. That he come out with a lot of ticks. And really, another 10 seconds, 15 seconds, he would have been world champion. I just wish he'd have done that earlier. But anyway, it's what it is, and you learn from it. You can't change the past. You learn from it, move forward, and I believe he's quite capable of winning a world title.
What do you make of the criticism levelled at Tunde Ajayi in the wake of the loss?
Look, everybody praises you, they criticise you, you get this wherever you go. I mean, I get it about matches. It is what it is. People can say what they like. At the end of the day, it's up to us as a team to sit down and work out what the future is. And, and that's what we'll do. We're a team and we work together.
Speaking of the future, what is next for Anthony? Obviously, once you've spoken to him, you're going to be looking at bringing him around the similar sort of level. Is he going to drop down to get a bit of confidence back? What's your plans?
Well, I've got to talk with him first, and once we sit down and go through it, then we'll make a decision, as to what and where and when. Plenty of time to do that.
Talking about Tyson Fury, that's what we're here for, the Gypsy King, his second fight in 3 months. Good to see him so active.
How's things going?
Good to see him so active.
It is. He's in a good place, and like I kept saying all along with him, every time he's in a training camp now, he's getting fitter and fitter. Whereas when he fought Wilder, and the two guys before him, although they were what they were, they were guys who were there for his comeback fights, so easy his passage back into the game. He wasn't training for a fight, he was training to make weight. It was very difficult for him, and Ben's done a fantastic job. The last fight, you could see the difference certainly after fighting Deontay Wilder. You could see the difference in his physique, his speed and so forth. This time he even looks better. Certainly, his physique and physically he looks like a different man altogether. Mentally he's in a tremendous place, and this is what it's all about. Remember when we brought him back, when he came back, we were going to have 4 warm-up fights. He had 2. So he's done well, and he's never been so busy. I think it's his 5th fight in roughly about just over a year. So that's great, and hopefully he comes through this one and sets the big one up.
Picking up there, I had to do a quick battery change. Still a little bit jet lagged from the week. Tyson Fury's last fight against Tom Schwartz, he looked so good and he was so impressive in blowing Tom Schwartz away that I think people wanted to see him step up in his next fight. What do you make of the criticism of Otto Wallin as the opponent?
Well, so who is he going to step up against? Tell me who's around for him to step up against. He's fighting a guy who's ranked, I think, in the top 5. He's got, is it 4 or 5 ranking, one of the governing bodies. That's where he is, that's what he's doing. These are stupid comments, and I think all emanates from Hearn. And really, I don't know why he keeps on about Tyson. All he should worry about is resurrecting, or trying to resurrect, his man's career. Because remember, he got beat by Ruiz, and he couldn't make the fight that we could make. He couldn't make the fight against Wilder because they were so greedy and stupid, they didn't make the fight. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise they didn't make it, and that's seeing what happened in the Ruiz fight. But we made that fight happen. We made it. We made the fight he couldn't make for his man. We made it for our man. And Tyson, at the end of the day, is fighting who's available. There isn't anyone else available. Who is there? You tell me. They're all fighting each other. Charles fighting against Brian. Is it Brian? That fight's on. You've got Ruiz fighting against Joshua. You've got a couple other guys, Wilder. They're all fighting. So this is it. And I'm not having him sitting on his arse waiting for the Ortiz fight to take place. We want to keep him busy. 1 minute it's, don't put him in with Deontay yet. He's not ready for that. Now, I know what I'm doing, and we know what we're doing, and this fight is all about him getting himself into a 100% best condition he can be in, physically and mentally, and more importantly than that, if it is more important, is building his profile in the States, so when that fight takes place, it's going to hit the 2 million markers for buys on pay-per-view.
What do you think it is about Tyson that seems to polarise opinion amongst boxing fans?
I don't think he does polarise opinion. He's everywhere I go, he's mobbed. He's a man of the people. You get the internet stuff, and obviously I don't disrespect people who go on there, but I'm interested in people who come to see him and want to see him and tune in. Every time he fights on TV, he gets very good ratings, big ratings, and he's absolutely well liked wherever he goes. I mean, the couple of shows we've done in the UK, they're all sold out shows, so somebody loves him.
Good answer. Speaking of being on TV, this fight's on pay-per-view in the UK. Talk to me about the decision behind that. One or two fans, again, not necessarily happy about that. Is that your decision? Does that come from BT?
Yeah, BT decided that they want to go with it as a pay-per-view because he's a pay-per-view fighter, and that's where we are.
Deontay Wilder, he said that he could fight Andy Ruiz. He's talking about step-aside money. Tyson says the fight is signed. I'm yet to speak to Shelley Finker. I'm going to do that this week. What's your view on the whole situation?
I spoke to Shelley today, and everybody's like-minded. They want the fight happen early next year. And as soon as Deontay, he's got to get through a tough fight against Ortiz. If he comes through that fight, I'm very confident he'll be on. It's the biggest fight out there. It's a huge fight for both of them. What do the fans want to see? A rematch of that great fight, or see him with Ruiz? No-brainer, isn't it?
If Ruiz does come through against Anthony Joshua in the rematch, the fact that both he and Deontay Wilder, both represented by Al Haymon, both PBC fighters, does that throw a potential spanner in the works?
No, I don't think so. This is a fight that, listen, if Deontay Wilder doesn't fight Tyson Fury, that is a big problem. Tyson got robbed over here last time. Tyson won that fight. That was a bad decision. If you don't fight him, then all you guys on the internet then start getting stuck in.
Just final one on yourself. You've also got a show this Saturday at the York Hall. Cracking show. Lots of young talent, headlined by Sonny Edwards, who's in against another tough Mexican. Talk to me about that show.
Well, as you say, there's some really good fights, and it's all about our youngsters and keeping them busy. We're doing a lot more shows now, and you'll be seeing quite a few of these type of shows, showcasing all our young talent, as well as the big shows. We've got some big shows that we'll be announcing as well. And we've got a great show coming up as well at the Albert Hall on the 27th with Daniel going for his, I think, 7th belt, isn't it, or whatever it is in the period of time. So, look at what we got. We've got the best heavyweight in the world, the elite heavyweight Tyson Fury, and the young kid on the left, the best young heavyweight in the world. Now, Joe Joyce may say no to that, but there's an easy way to find out who's the best, and next year let's get them together as well. Let's make all these fights happen. We're in a good place at the moment with all our guys, and they're all doing extremely well. And Daniel's a dream to work with. He's going from strength to strength, and he's maturing not just physically but also mentally. This is a great time for us.
You mentioned Joe Joyce. A lot of rumours and a lot of Twitter talk and social media talk about him fighting Jarrell Miller. What update can you give me on that?
Well, there's no need for Twitter talk. My son spoke to Greg Cohen, who's his promoter. I just spoke to Dimitri Salita, who also is involved. And I said, let's make the fight. Listen, they called it out, not us. I'm here, let's do it. I'll go with them right now. Let's go and sign up and do it. They get good money, we'll look after them. That is a great fight, and it's a great fight that Joe wants. Joe's no problem with that. He says, yeah, go for it. Let's do the fight. I think he finishes, they're telling me that he's over his suspension. So fine, if he's clean to box, if the commission's saying he's okay, providing he's okay to box, let's do it. That's a great fight to make. Joe Joyce wants it, and we want it. So, Mr. Miller, tell your team to come and see me and do the fight. I've seen you on the social media saying you want it. We want it. So I'm in Vegas. Come and make this fight happen. Don't talk about it. Do it. Actions speak louder than words.
I think it's fair to say that it is an interesting fight. Two high volume punchers, big guys. There is the lingering concern among British boxing fans in particular about Jarrell Miller and his performance-enhancing drug ban. I know you were vocal about it. I was vocal myself about it. What kind of example does it set to have him come back into such a big fight on the back of a very serious ban?
Right, let me just say something. A 6-month ban is bullshit for anyone. If you want to stamp out drugs in boxing, it's very easy to do it. You hand out very, very lengthy bans. I don't police the sport. I've said this before. That's what commission's there. That's what we pay them their fees for. That's what they collect licence fees for and sanction fees. That's their job to do it. If he's free to box, then he's free to box. If he's not, then we move on to somebody else. It's not about coming back into a big fight. He was a guy who was going to fight Anthony Joshua. So Joe Joyce wants to fight him. That's a bit of a statement for Joe Joyce.
Agreed. Sorry, I've just lost my train of thought there. You make me very nervous sometimes, Frank. Where was I going with this? Sorry, just 2 minutes. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
What are you doing tomorrow?
What's that?
What are you doing tomorrow? No, I'm joking.
That was it. Sorry, you always make me very nervous. I spoke to Thomas Hauser a few weeks ago. We won't go into the details of that, but one of the things that he said to me was that it could be on the responsibility of networks or promoters to potentially take a step in making the sport safer by coming together and putting money together to basically provide year-round testing for fighters. Would you be interested in that? I spoke to Eddie about it. He said he would be interested.
Listen, of course I'd be interested in it, but everybody says all these things, and like I keep saying, actions speak loud and louder. The first thing you need to do, it's not my job to do that. That's not my job. That's the commission's job. All the commissions, border controls, the WBCs, the BOs, all of them, that's all their job to do that. Then if they all fall in line and do it, it's a no-brainer for us, because they're saying to us as promoters, and more importantly to the boxers, because we don't take the drugs, they're saying to them, this is what it is, this what be the penalty. You know, we're in Vegas, it's Mexican weekend. What message did it send out with Canelo last year, when February gets tested positive and then he's fighting 6 months later? But that's what it is. Once he's licensed, you can't stop him from boxing. So commissions, they need to deal with it.
Take 3 with Frank Warren. Sorry, I missed a couple of questions there. First question. Oh, sorry, just had somebody skate past the view. KSI versus Logan Paul, Frank. Thoughts?
Oh, they had a fight, didn't they? I mean, listen, they're ranked amateurs. I don't think, did they have any amateur fights? They're two guys, it's just like a white collar fight, isn't it? It's what it is. You know, and I get where they're coming from, and we had a conversation with them for the first fight. There was some talk, somebody approached me. You know, it is what it is. You know, there's two guys who've got massive followings on the internet, and they're going to find out who's the best out of them two. But, you know, you don't run away with, you know, what they are. I mean, they are just ranked amateur guys.
Good for boxing, bad for boxing, not bothered?
Well, if they were like these guys doing white collar fights, no one would take any notice, would they? They're guys who want to get fit and do it. But they're going to make a lot of money out of it. Or they assume they're going to make a lot of money out of it. That's where they are, you know. That's what they're doing. And some people have views about it and then change them dramatically.
Is it something that you'd potentially look at doing in the future? I know you just mentioned the fact that you had talks over the first fight.
No, I mean, I would, if it's something like that, that would be, I mean, I would, you know, what would I do about that? You know, something like that, I'd have to have a serious think, you know, give it a lot of thought. I wouldn't turn it into something, you know, I'm not going to, you wouldn't kid the public it's something that is not. These are not elite world-class athletes. I mean, neither of them would win a Southern Area title, would they? They wouldn't win an ABA title, so that's what it is. But there's rivalry amongst them, they're going to settle it in the ring and they're going to get a few quid from doing it, so that's what they're going to do. But, you know, some people slag it into the ground, call it terrible and say they're, you know, it's bad for boxing, and being boxing men, they don't approve it. And then, I don't know what happened since to change their mind. Might be a ka-ching moment.
Your old charge, Miller-Joyce, is heavily rumoured to be on the undercard of that fight. What do you make of that? I mean, the fact that it's been legitimised as a professional fight is I'm reading between the lines of what you've saying is kind of not your issue with it, but your thoughts on it. What do you make of Billy Joe, potentially Devin Haney boxing on the undercard?
Well, Bill's fighting on the undercard. That's his choice, isn't it? You know, I remember Hearn saying when he went, he's going to the big time now. So that's what it is.
Final question. A friend of mine, Ben Faruqi from Boxing News TV, did a little interview with your friend Bob Arum, a couple of weeks back or a few weeks ago, I can't remember, went viral, a clip where he was talking about what does he do? What's his secret to longevity in the sport? 87 years old, been in boxing for 88 years. He said that he likes to smoke cannabis, medicinal marijuana, or take edibles, as they call them. 2 questions. 1, what does Frank Warren do to relax? And 2, will you be visiting a dispensary with Bob Arum while you're in Las Vegas?
Well, only if I become ill, I might go to one. No, I don't do drugs. Bob. That's Bob's choice, and that's Bob's life, and it's legal here for him to do it. It's what he wants to do. God bless him and good luck. He's happy on it. That's where it's at. What do I do to relax? I spend time with my family, my friends. I go to lots of concerts. I go to theatre, read when I've got the chance to do it. I enjoy myself. I'm very, very content with my life.
Little birdie told me you like the occasional glass of wine, Frank.
Well, that's. I like my glass of wine from. I like a glass of wine, but who doesn't?
Absolutely, Frank Warren. Again, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Pleasure, young man.
I'll speak to you later.